day. Right, the topic of analysis for today will be min-maxing as a paradigm, as a development philosophy for video games, pretty much. And I wanted to explore this topic because it's quite unique in the sense that a lot of reviewers don't even pay attention to. And second, Sacred 2's system, as you'll see in a minute, once we begin with the analysis, has a pretty unique, pretty unique stat system that influences this. Right, before we continue, I wanted to say thanks to Yoshimiro for being the 47th subscriber of the YouTube channel, and thanks to, well, it's an anonymous account, but I think it's you, Pekarin. Thanks, Pekarin, for being the 46th subscriber of the YouTube channel. Thanks to both of you from the bottom of my heart. I will display the corresponding message for Yoshimiro because it was a public. Remember that you can subscribe over at YouTube publicly or privately, and I think that one was publicly, so I'll be able to display our beautiful usual YouTube messages. We'll do it on Thursday because Yoshimiro, you subscribed. This one was a previous one, the one from last week from Patrick. If you subscribe publicly, I can display, only if you subscribe publicly, I can display this beautiful message for all of you, but thanks from the bottom of my heart. Also, thanks to of course, Pekarin and Pixel Generator for joining the Discord server, both at the same time, independently. Yes, thanks to both of you from the bottom of my heart. We are, I always love it when, deeply appreciate it when the Discord community grows, so we can enjoy game analysis together. Game analysis, game recommendations, everything together with an amazing community over there. Right, perfect. All thanks ready, or all done. The Yoshimiro's message I'll display it on Thursday because you subscribed some yesterday, and I didn't have time to log out and relog in over at Twitch, so I can display the message and have control of the chat. I need to log out and then relog in at the same time. Well, to display YouTube messages. All right, people. Enough of a recap. Sorry, we are finished with the thanks. As a quick recap, last time we got to the developer dungeon. We dedicated the first hour of the stream to unlock the secret developer dungeon. Check out the previous stream in case you're interested in that. That's why you see a lot of spots on the map. We'll leave this quest deliberately. We'll deliberately leave this quest for the end of the game, right? Presumably even after the final analysis. We'll leave this quest for the end as a victory lap, as if it was a NASCAR race or something like that. Besides getting to the secret areas, I finished all of the quests in the jungle region here, and pretty much the only zone that it's unexplored is this one that I presume it leads over here. I will investigate that for Thursday. Here I can see that I have access to this island. I don't know. It has to do something with getting through this zone, but I still haven't figured out how. I think it's through this temple, the Temple of Tears there. That could be an option. But as for the rest, then we disembark here, and as we did a lot of our philosophical analysis, our metaphysical analysis, I started the exploration of Dryad Island pretty much. We just started. We haven't done a lot of quests here. As you can see, it's inspired in Great Britain. It's pretty much the same shape as Great Britain, which is highly important because, as I've said, this game has realistic weather conditions and realistic geography of Europe. Here you can see the Roman Colosseum. This is pretty much Italy. This is pretty much the German slash. It could also be the Swiss region, because some sections of it do look Swiss. This one represents France, so it's a perfect representation. Fantasy setting, for example, is inverted there. There you have the UK down there. Here you have everything. Here you have, for example, Ireland and Iceland and the volcanoes and everything. So we're exploring Dryad Island. We are just beginning. We got some story quests. We have some secondary quests. Pretty much we begin with sophisticated taste, in which we are looking for materials for to feed. How do I put it? Well, it says it there. A finicky lizard. He's quite refined in his tastes, and we need one more cat bowel, pretty much. We collected 4 last time, so we only need 1 more. Good. Pretty much a recap of what we've been doing, and today I wanted to begin the analysis. Today I wanted to begin the stream with the analysis of min-maxing as a paradigm, as a design philosophy for video games in general. Let me distribute my talents here. Hey, this one went down a bit. Cannot have that. We have that one, and here Gruesome Inquisition. Gruesome Inquisition. Definitely Gruesome Inquisition. We need to lower our cooldowns as much as possible after using all of our runes. And here, well, yeah, we can go for Callous Execution. With open wound, tenacity, combat arts, or whatever. Then we can deal with that. I think it's a bit overboard at this point, but yeah, I need to reduce the cooldowns. I forgot to spend my points on concentration. We cannot have this. Oh, my bad. I need to spend points over there. Well, this one will be blinking if I don't do this. There we go. Doesn't matter, I don't use those abilities yet. But I would pick that. Alright. Min-maxing, people. Min-maxing, last time we focused on the skill tree system of the game. We came to a lot of conclusions. Among them, the fact that Sacred 2 has a unique skill tree system, because the skill tree doesn't act as an empty shell like a modifier, as we are used to see in most MMORPGs, modern RPGs, and isometric action RPGs. It's not an empty modifier that simply modifies our base abilities, but the difference is that no, it's a bit back there. Where are we going? Shit. What's going on? Hang on a second. This region has a pretty high spawn density. We see some enemy variety here with these leaping plants. There we go. Let me go back a bit, because it looks like, yeah, it's at that corner, the objective. There we go. What happened there? The game lost focus for a second. There we go. Perfect. And it should be around this corner. Yeah, it's a fetch quest, so we need to... I hate that denomination, by the way. I mentioned this several times. There we go. Alright. We have these 3 spirits, and well, as we analyze the skill tree, we came to the conclusion that it's not simply an empty modifier that modifies your basic abilities that you progressively unlock through the game, as you would normally do in, let's say, World of Warcraft and the like. However, as you can see here, thanks to the split philosophy, the split branch philosophy of the skill tree in Sacred 2, on Thursday we came to the conclusion that through the lore and focus system of the game, which pretty much are sub-branches of the main skill tree, which are pretty much sub-branches of the skill tree, Sacred 2 manages to create a skill tree system in which there's a dissociation between the progress of unlocking the base abilities, like we do in 99% of MMORPG games and modern RPG games and etc. Hey, it wasn't over here. What's the meaning of this? Perhaps I killed the last mob. Perhaps I killed the last mob, and the loot is dropped there. The quest item was dropped there last time. So, thanks to the lore and the focus, through the use of
no honeymoon period.
The lore. What? Damn it! They're gonna kill us. We need to be careful.
Does that hurt, heretic? Victory.
There we go. Through the use of
no such thing as too much practice.
Of the focus, we decrease the regeneration time, which is a very unusual stat for the player to have an influence on. Right? In most games, in most RPG games, we generally don't have an influence, a direct influence over the regeneration system of the game. We are there it is. See, I knew it was like that. We killed the last mob last time, but I didn't collect it in my killing spree. Usually happens. I didn't collect the appropriate quest item. It's usually like that when it's a fixed spawn.
I am all
in most games, pretty much going back to the skill tree, you don't have a direct influence on the regeneration time of your abilities. Think about World of Warcraft. I always use the same example, as I always say, because World of Warcraft is a game that most of us have played, and pretty much it's the archetype.
be easy for you.
It's the main mold. It's the skeleton, the base upon which a lot of modern MMORPGs and even modern RPGs, even if they are offline, are based on. So the skill tree system, the classic Blizzard skill tree system, it's a classic example that I can use, and we all can think about it quickly and we recognize it. Right. There, the base abilities are progressively unlocked, but you don't have a direct influence on your cooldown times, on your regeneration times, on your global cooldowns at all. Like, you cannot influence your regeneration time, the regeneration time for your abilities in that game, at all. So it's pretty unique, the skill tree system in Sacred 2 that we explored on Thursday. Because as you can see, damage is enhanced. You can increase the base damage of your abilities through a sub-branch of the skill tree. That's unusual, and it's also unusual that you can reduce the regeneration time at the same time with a second branch of the skill tree. And these sub-branches, this sub-branches system, it's extremely uncommon. For not saying unique at this point, it's absolutely unique, people. Because it handles the skill tree handling regeneration times, cooldowns. It's quite unusual. It's quite unusual to allow the player to directly modify regeneration times of his character's abilities directly. Where's that objective? It has to be underground then, huh? It has to be underground. It's quite unusual. There it is. No, it wasn't underground. This must be the place Xandras talked about. If I dig a little, there it is. Magnificent. Oh, they're gonna attack us? Yeah, pretty much. As I was mentioning, on Thursday we analyzed the skill tree system of the game, and that dissociation is quite unusual. To allow the player to directly manipulate regeneration times of his character through a sub-branch of the skill tree is extremely unusual. It's even more unusual to allow the player through a second sub-branch, the lore and the focus. It was the focus for the regeneration times that I was mentioning, and the lore for the damage. In the case of the lore, it's also quite unusual. Generally, in World of Warcraft, we increase the base damage of our abilities through
This won't be easy.
through purchasing through leveling up, through purchasing new levels of said ability, right? But in the case of Sacred 2, this leveling up process of the base damage of our skill tree abilities is embedded. It's organically integrated within a sub-branch system of the skill tree, the lore, instead of the focus, which is the regeneration times. Both of those stats, they are quite unusual as a game development philosophy to allow the player to manipulate them. Think about all of the RPGs you played, people, and you'll realize think about in how many of them you've been able to directly reduce the global regeneration times of your abilities through the skill tree. None, pretty much none. It's a pretty unique system. And if on top of that we add a second layer of abstract complexity to the mental model, which is increasing the base damage through another sub-branch of the skill tree, at the end of the day, the conclusion that we arrived to on Thursday was that it's a pretty unique skill tree system. Now, why am I mentioning the skill tree system? Because for today, the topic of analysis will be min-maxing as a development philosophy, as a paradigm, in order to create the stat system of the game. And the stat system is directly related to the skill tree system, because pretty much the skill tree system in all games, regardless of using this sub-branch system or using the classic Blizzard system of leveling up abilities, like in World of Warcraft, regardless of the system, the base damage of our abilities, modified through either the skill tree or leveling up the skills like in World of Warcraft, is directly linked to the stat system of the game. And precisely, let me start this quest and we'll begin with min-maxing as a paradigm, as an element within the stat system of the game, of the gameplay mechanics of the game. The stat system, pretty much. That will be the framework of min-maxing as a paradigm that we have as the analysis topic for today, people. I've escaped my watchers. Have you got the medallion? Give it to me. Are we smugglers? Sure we are. Right? We turn in this quest. It's a nested quest. Let's grab it and so we can continue completing all of the quests of the area. We're pretty much at the beginning of Dryad Island. Take me to the cave. Alright, I won't keep you guessing. This medallion is special. It can be used to cast a spell that controls forest spirits. Very useful. Would you escort us to the cave where we will cast a spell?
For the gods.
Sure thing. Oh, it's a escort mission. I need to be careful. Because escort missions, generally at the beginning of the series I thought that they couldn't die. But yeah, they can't die, so I better protect these guys from getting killed. It's not far, let's just walk there. Well, it is quite a bit far away, but well, we don't have any other quests, so this is as good as a time as any. I deduce here the big question. Is it an inner location of this area, or is it an outer location of the area? Because we have this path, and we have this path, and presumably only one of them will actually lead us to the location, to the correct location, to the correct entrance, to the game, to the area. Let's first try the inner one. Let me see if it transitions us to a dungeon or not. Let me see. Yeah, pretty much we have to get through the forest. Let me see, people. Let me see. And well, see, this is what we were talking about constantly, previously, about how the density of the terrain is amazing in this game. So that pretty much we have to figure out how to access different areas. The density of the terrain is absolutely amazing. The incredible amount of high details, it's amazing in such an expansive and huge world. Ah, it's a dead end. It's a dead end. Oh, and this is also a dead end, so what's going on? It's as if this zone is completely separated from the rest. So let's try a different approach. Because this zone seems to be completely separated. See, this is what I meant when I am constantly saying that the incredible amount of high detail of the terrain that the game has. So, as I said at the beginning, people, the stat system of the game is intrinsically related to the skill tree system that we explored, that we analyzed on Thursday. But today, I wanted to focus on min-maxing as a paradigm, as a game development philosophy for the stat system of the game. The stat system of the game is pretty much the framework within which the stat system resides. Alright? And pretty much the stat system in Sacred 2 demands something incredible, a pretty good philosophy design choice, which is the fact that you are encouraged as a player in a pretty organic and natural way that we'll go over throughout the course of today's analysis, which is the fact that in Sacred 2 the player is naturally encouraged to evenly distribute his stats. Something extremely subtle, an extremely subtle stat system element that is not taken into account enough in modern game reviews at all, people, if you think about it. Generally, let's begin the analysis of today with a pretty down-to-earth example. Think about Diablo 3. Think about the classic Blizzard stat system and how it works. Pretty much, you just focus. Think about Diablo 3, Diablo 2, pretty much every single modern RPG you can think about. The design philosophy behind the stat system is plain. Why? Because it is designed around min-maxing as a paradigm. Now, to get into this topic, which is quite abstract, it's a quite abstract mental model, we need to define min-maxing, which is pretty much what I'm referring to when I cite the classic Blizzard system. Min-maxing is the process in which the developers of the game encourage a stat system philosophy that is based around increasing your character's base damage stat. Basically increasing your base damage. That's min-maxing. You can see this phenomenon perfectly in the Diablo series, which is amazing and everything, but it's the perfect epitome of the classic Blizzard stat system philosophy. You just increase your base damage, you only care about your base damage, and through that understanding of the game design philosophy, just increasing your character's base damage, generally, if it's a mage, it's through intelligence, if it's a warrior, it's through strength, and if it's a rogue, it's through agility. Pretty much following the naming conventions of the classic Dungeons and Dragons legacy. Pretty much, people. So that's the classic Blizzard system. That's min-maxing at its core. as a player, you don't have to worry about, see that we are beginning to get into the psychological effect on the player. You don't have to worry about anything else. Just increase your base damage, and through your understanding of a single gameplay mechanic, increasing your base damage through intelligence, through strength, or through agility, you can get to the end of the game. You can understand 90% of the stat system complexity. You can understand 90%, and it's even sad when it's 100% of the game. You can understand the whole stat system of the game. You can perform efficiently through only increasing your base attack damage, and perhaps there's a secondary, let's say, a secondary collateral stat that also but it's also about complementing the base stat damage. For example, if you increase your critical rating, the percentage of possibility of dealing a critical attack, for example, that's collateral to the base attack damage. That would be the residual 10% of that min-maxing design philosophy, but 90% of it will be increasing your base attack damage. That's the main design philosophy, following the classic Blizzard system design pattern or philosophy, which is pretty much min-maxing. Now, coming back to Sacred 2. That's why I opened the attributes tab. Notice there, people, that I started this game min-maxing. So I'm the perfect example, and I died 462 times or something like that. Then we'll check it at the end of the series. And I died that insane amount of times. Until I didn't understand that this game's design philosophy of the stat system, which is the framework, the stat system of the min-maxing as a design philosophy element of the analysis that I do, is very much the framework of all analysis, the stat system of min-maxing, because min-maxing as a design philosophy, as an abstract model, it's literally a part of the stat system, because it's about increasing your base attack damage. It's part of the stat system. So, until I didn't understand, let's use empirical evidence, down-to-earth examples first, people, because if we don't have evidence, then all of our theory is useless. Empirical evidence. Until I didn't understand that Sacred 2 organically encourages a balanced distribution of stat points, until that didn't happen, until I didn't understand the abstract complexity of the stat system mechanics, I was constantly dying. I had that negative proportion of the economic system of the game, which is related to this element. See how all of the elements begin to relate when you think about them. They are all linked, intrinsically linked, with a high degree of efficiency. That's brilliance at its finest in game development, people. When the elements of the game integrate within each other at a high degree of efficiency, when they fit naturally within each other, the game had a proper development philosophy behind it. In the case of the stat system, it's sadly, this is a sad aspect of modern game development, I must say. This is the sad part about it. That in most games, in the stats, if we take a look at the stat system, min-maxing, it's encouraged 100%. The player only requires to understand. How to enhance base damage as a philosophy, as a concept, to master the gameplay mechanics, to be efficient in combat, pretty much in that game's combat system, to be efficient in the framework of that game's combat system. In this case, to have the negative proportion of the economic system that we've been analyzing. In this game, and as empirical evidence, I had a negative proportion of my income, of my gold income, until I understood that the game encourages an organic, balanced distribution of the stat system. is not enough to just increase your base damage. You have to worry about more stats. And that ingenuity to be able to break the barrier of having a one-dimensional plain stat system is what Sacred 2 does best. The abstract complexity of the stat system is higher than the average stat system created by Blizzard or most modern than the average modern RPG game, or MMORPG, or isometric action RPG. There you can see, so I can close this tab finally. There you can see that I have dexterity. Let's go over them one by one. There you can see that I have dexterity, intelligence, and vitality, and I had them all. More or less, roughly, on average, evenly distributed. But until I didn't understand this aspect of the stat system, that Sacred 2 was able to finally successfully encourage a different philosophy, the opposite philosophy of min-maxing, I wasn't efficient in combat. And that barrier was perfectly placed by the developers. People, if I could be efficient in combat and create that positive ratio, that positive income ratio, getting more gold from my loot than what I lose because I'm efficient in combat. See, it's like a domino effect. If you are not efficient in combat, the economic system, what we've explained, is linked to the reward-punishment system of the game, and that creates a perfect psychological sense of progression of the player. But getting back to the skill, to the stat system, there you can see that I was forced, that's the important part, that I was forced to reverse engineer, let's say, to go back on my steps, on my tracks, of the chipset that I had in my mind. The philosophy, the design philosophy that I had in my mind about the average modern RPG game. See that they are evenly distributed, right? There's a reason behind them. Well, there you can see. Dexterity, let's read them, and there you will see the huge influence of the stat system. Dexterity, you must be thinking, your character is a mage, Razor. What's the point of spending points on dexterity? Because dexterity, as a secondary effect, increases defense value. And defense value is a naming convention, posh word, for evasion chance. And without evasion chance in this game, it's impossible to survive even the most basic of world boss encounters. So, understanding how that stat works, it's a barrier, an impassable barrier, an impenetrable barrier, to be able to beat world bosses in this game. See how the gameplay mechanics are perfectly integrated within the stat system. If you don't understand how important it is to evenly distribute your stats, you won't be able to ever survive like this one. See, I was talking about it, and a world boss appears, Forest Guardian. I wouldn't be able to even survive this encounter. Well, not this one, it's probably up ahead. Where is this boss? We have a world boss. But well, just so you have a reference, this one. It's probably this one. I wouldn't be able to survive an attack, or even the best example was the Garganthropod world boss. That boss had a pretty nasty attack it had pretty high damage. It had a pretty nasty. See, for example, I would have never been able to survive that without the evasion chance. I am evading most of the attacks, as you will see there. You can see that it says player's chance to hit and opponent's chance to hit. There you can see it perfectly reflected, people. Intelligence, it's basically our base damage, the one that we would normally use for min-maxing, that I used at the beginning of the series. I invested all of my points on intelligence. And then we have vitality, which is our overall health and health regeneration. Right, now I can close the tab and continue my explanation without it. At the beginning of the series, what did I do? Empirical evidence. I invested all of my points. If you check out the first VODs over at YouTube of what I did, I invested all on base damage, as I was used to do. It's pretty much the first thing we do. We say, well, like in all games, I increase my base damage, I add a secondary collateral stat to it, to the mix, critical chance generally, and like that I can heal mobs faster than needed in order to survive encounters. See how interesting it is to take a look at the stat system. Hey, this thing heals itself. Pretty good, pretty good. It's pretty powerful. It has a healing reset. All right. I need to ramp up my damage precisely. So in 99% of modern RPG games, they have that stat design philosophy flaw of min-maxing people, and it's quite important, and it's a subtle element that reviewers nowadays don't pay attention to within the framework of the stat system. Hey, this one is pretty good. He's recovering health. It's a quite interesting mechanic. Let's see if we can out DPS that healing. And pretty much I need to engage in melee here, huh? Because otherwise I'm not making use of my dual wielding. I need to... Careful. Careful. Let's see, I need to deal more damage than... Oh, quite interesting. See how how min-maxing as a design philosophy, it's a problem. It's a problem because it creates a one-dimensional stat system. If I only increase my base damage, and I'm allowed as a player to perfectly, how do I put it? To perfectly be efficient in combat without caring about any other stat, I'm creating a plain, simple stat system. Lower complexity of the stat system. There we go. Good. Our damage is pretty good. We did a critical there. It's one-dimensional. Sorry that I had to zoom out of the analysis philosophy for a sec there, people. But I had to deal with the boss. It's a one-dimensional plain system. If we think about it, if we think about the classic normal min-maxing design philosophy of the classic Blizzard system. I'm not saying it's bad. Blizzard creates the best games of all time. Has created some of the best games of all time. There you can see I have the Lich King there, and also I have Diablo and StarCraft. I think they are masters of the genre without a doubt. No one would question that. However, it is true that their design philosophy, there's an old phrase over at Blizzard offices that was, when creating a game, easy to learn, hard to master, and they really stick to that philosophy. Easy to learn, hard to master. In the case of Sacred 2, the learning curve, it's steeper from the very beginning. As I analyzed this at the beginning of the series, that destroys, let's say, it degrades accessibility, as we nowadays use that modern word that we hear so much, that we hear so much. It's more accessible. Blizzard games are more accessible right from the beginning, right from the get-go, right off the bat. But then that also has a negative impact. It also has a negative impact, people. A dark side that reviewers never get to analyze, because generally reviewers don't do 100% reviews, so they don't play games to 100% completion. That's why I insist so much on doing that when analyzing games, because the negative part, the negative effect of having a game that is easy to learn but difficult to master is that while you are making it more accessible, you are degrading the abstract complexity of the stat system, for example. And you'll see what I mean. Because you are generally encouraging the player to min-max stats. You are encouraging the player to just focus on base damage. Think about it, people. Think about the last RPG you played. Or the one that you like the most. Skyrim, World of Warcraft, whatever. Yeah, definitely the entrance is not through here. Definitely the entrance is not through here. But I bet that if I get to... Okay, I think it has to do with this. Now I see that they all get killed and we fail the mission. No, they seem to recover health. Fortunately, they were a bit reasonable about it. Think about the last RPG you played, right? Any RPG that you like, the one you like the most, the last one the last you played. I think it's through the forest. Could it be the entrance? Could it be? Think about the last one you played. The last one. Think if you could beat that game through a mastery of the stat system which involves min-maxing, which simply involves increasing your base attack damage. Can you beat Skyrim by simply increasing your base attack damage? Can you? Most probably, there will be exceptions, of course, there will always be special cases, but most probably, if we think about most modern RPG games, or Diablo 3, let's use Diablo 3 as an example, if you think about them, you can indeed beat them with a one-dimensional, simpler understanding of the stat system due to the min-maxing philosophy. So it was easy to learn, hard to master, but it was one-dimensional. It was one-dimensional. You only had to care about a single stat. Think about this. When was the last time you had a game that organically encouraged you to spend attribute points on vitality, evasion, accuracy, any other stat which isn't simply base attack damage and marginally a second one like critical damage? When was the last time, people? I bet it's been, if you think about it, it's been a long time ago, because most games followed the classic Blizzard philosophy and they created one-dimensional stat systems. Sacred 2 has a huge achievement going for it if we analyze the stat system of the game, which is the fact that it naturally encourages the player to evenly distribute his attribute points and stats. I was forced, organically, naturally, to be efficient in combat, to evenly distribute my stats, because without evasion, I wouldn't even survive the first world boss encounter that I had in this game at all. I was also forced to invest points on accuracy, posh naming convention, attack rating in this game. Attack rating is the same as accuracy. But without accuracy, no matter how powerful my base attack damage was, I was unable to land those attacks. I was unable to hit enemies with those attacks. See how the abstract complexity of the mental model was immediately upgraded. It was immediately superior to what I was used to. At the beginning of the series, as I said, I got killed 462 times or something like that. Because I came in, I started playing the game. I think it's... this will lead us to another settlement, and I think it's also the way to get into the inner area of these mountains and get to the objective. So I think this is the way. I don't know. I like exploring without knowing what's next, people. It's that sense of discovery that we should never lose, and this game is perfect at creating that sense of discovery. The stat system, I came in with the philosophy of min-maxing, and what happened? The game erected a barrier in its abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics. It erected a barrier which simply prevented me from being efficient in combat and creating that positive... How do I progress through here? Are we trapped? What's the meaning of this? Entrance? We have to enter that dungeon? Maybe? Could it be? Perhaps? Ah, through here you get to this other zone? Could it be? Let's explore it, people. Because I'm sure that then we'll have to... I want to have all of the terrain explored. I came in with that philosophy, and the game naturally erected a barrier that prevented me from being efficient in combat and creating that positive ratio, that positive proportion of my gold game currency income. I know these are all extremely abstract concepts, people, but they create a perfect system in which every element of the gameplay mechanics and the stat system, they complement each other and they create a perfect system. Why? why. And you'll see that it's the domino effect that we talked about on Thursday and last week. Then I think it's through here, huh? We'll see. Let's see for dungeon. If you don't understand that you need a balanced distribution of the stat system of the game, and you need to reverse engineer your mentality. Let me change to fire resistance. And you have to reverse engineer your mentality of min-maxing on just investing points on base attack damage like we do in all modern or in 99% of modern RPG games. If you don't reverse engineer that mentality, if you don't learn the specific gameplay stats, the specific stat system of Sacred 2, the game erects that barrier. You will be inefficient in combat. It's already affecting the gameplay mechanics. You will die. You are fighting and you will die. The gameplay mechanics directly affecting the gameplay mechanics. And as we analyzed 1 week ago and 2 weeks ago, the gameplay mechanics of Sacred 2 are directly linked. They're associated. They're inherently integrated within the economic system of the game and the reward/punishment element of the economic system of the game. Meaning, going back to the empirical evidence, to a down-to-earth example, because otherwise it's useless to lay out, to talk about and think about all of these abstract concepts and elements. Going back to it, if you are inefficient in combat, due to the fact that you don't understand the stat system, you will create that negative ratio of your gold income in the game, and the punishment will be economic because of that two-dimensional economic reward punishment system that the game has. The game will not only punish you with the amount of time that you lost. This is a psychological effect that the game perfectly creates. Not only will punish you, the first dimension that we see in all of modern RPG games, the time you lost trying to kill that boss, and the cost of opportunity that you lost trying to get the loot from that boss, which is generally the one-dimensional penalty, the one-dimensional punishment system that we get, but also, in a pretty similar fashion as Dark Souls, it will implement the second layer of the punishment system of the game. Just like in Dark Souls, you lose your souls, in-game currency. In this game, the economic system is integrated within that punishment system and the gameplay mechanics. You get killed, you not only lost your cost of opportunity and your time, your cost of opportunity of getting the loot, and your time of trying to kill that boss, but you also reset, you just cost a reset of the internal clock system of the game, which is there in place, waiting for the player to die and to reset. And when the clock, the internal clock system resets, the player doesn't loot. Well, it does loot gold. The player does loot gold, but the proportion is much lower. It's much lower. You loot almost no gold, a tiny amount of gold, and then you have to wait until you once again amass that insane amount of time not dying, and you get the best rewards. Now, the player dies, hypothetical situation, the player dies, and the player pretty much creates that negative ratio of the economic system which is integrated within the gameplay mechanics, right? The negative ratio is created, the clock is reset, pretty much, you cause a reset of the clock system of the game, and afterwards, see how perfectly integrated the economic system is with a two-dimensional punishment system in this game. Not only you lose the cost of opportunity, you created that negative ratio. That negative economic ratio will cause you to loot less gold than the amount of gold required to buy health potions, right? Because the clock reset, you are not looting a lot of gold, that creates the negative proportion, and pretty much you cannot loot enough gold if you are constantly dying, if you don't understand this as a consequence of not understanding the stat system of the game. That negative ratio comes into play, and organically, naturally, in a pretty subtle but complex way, which is brilliant, and we cannot say the same about modern RPG games. There are good modern games, people, don't please don't misunderstand me. There are a lot of great modern RPG games and great modern games in general, but it's objective that the abstract complexity of the mechanics that I'm mentioning is higher in Sacred 2 because simply in modern games there isn't an internal clock system measuring the performance of the player and implementing a reward punishment system. It's objective. There isn't a second punishment if you die in Diablo 3. This is objective. It's not a mental perception. And we need to understand it in order to get to the metaphysical reality that is Sacred 2. So, it's a domino effect. Stat system, you don't understand it, affects the gameplay mechanics of the game, you are inefficient in combat, you die a lot, that resets the clock system, the reward, the then the gameplay mechanics are related to the economic system of the game, so, the punishment system comes into play, and it's two-dimensional. You cannot loot enough gold, it creates the negative proportion that I mentioned, the negative ratio. You don't loot enough, you loot less gold than the amount of gold required to constantly buy and spam potions. That, subtly, in a pretty subtle way, organically encourages the player to first learn the stat system of the game. Because the player won't be able to survive just spamming potions, because eventually the economic system of the game by itself will take care of the player. The very same economic system will not allow the player to buy potions, the player will constantly die, and until the player doesn't understand the gameplay mechanics, that clock will be always continuously being reset. When that happens, the player will eventually run out of gold. It happened to me several times. And not only in early game gameplay mechanics, in early game, during the early game. It happened to me during mid-game and up until end game, if you think about it. If you can watch the previous bots. So it's a domino effect. They are perfectly integrated. The stat system affects the gameplay system affects the economic system of the game, and the economic system of the game itself goes back and takes care of the player not understanding the posh naming conventions that the game has, which are pretty much inherited from classic Dungeons and Dragons naming conventions. So the fact that the game doesn't allow, and going back to my initial argument, see how everything was related, how complex the mental model behind the psychological effects on the player that Sacred 2 has. See how complex it is, and when the abstract complexity of all of the aspects of a game, the level design, the categories of my analysis in my case, I have them categorized, but hey, I think there's no exit here, or is it? Over there? Could it be? Ah yeah, we were doing pretty good. Through there? Could it be? Through there? I think it's through there. See how they are all perfectly integrated and create a perfect cycle. And see how important it was when I started this first initial analysis of how min-maxing works as a paradigm. See how important it is to have to break the barrier of a one-dimensional stat system. See how important it is in the grand scheme of things, in the whole engineering behind Sacred 2. Because imagine what would happen if we have min-maxing as a philosophy here in Sacred 2, instead of the stats that I've been mentioning, that you have to evenly distribute, that you have to have a balanced distribution of stats. Imagine what would happen. Let's use a hypothetical scenario after looking at the empirical evidence. What would happen? If the developers of the game implemented a stat system in which by simply investing points on increasing my base damage through intelligence if it's a mage, through agility if it's a rogue, or through strength if it's a mage, if they implemented a min-maxed stat system, that would lower the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics to such degree that the player would be able to be efficient in combat without understanding the rest of the stats through min-maxing, pretty much. The second that happens, there's a lot of negative consequences. That's why I always insist on this concept, people. Complexity is always positive for a video game. Increasing the average abstract complexity of your game is always positive. Why? Because it enhances replayability. And psychologically, if you enhance replayability, the player will spend more time through that complexity, that enhanced replayability, will spend more time playing the game. And if the player spends more time playing the game, the human brain works through repetition, that game will probably be remembered by a lot of people. Generally, as I always say, the games, if I now ask you, think about gaming, think about video games in general, what's the first game that you think about it immediately afterwards? It will probably be a game that you spent a lot of time. Generally, it's an MMORPG or an open world RPG. You can do this test. Ask your friends or people online. What's the game that they remember the most? And they will probably answer you either an MMORPG, an open world RPG, or in general a game that lasts for a lot of time. Why? Because repetition is addictive for the brain. At the end of the day, that's why I think it's a terrible philosophy when professional gaming press reviewers like IGN and the like say that the game is repetitive. What they should consider in that case is if the gameplay mechanics create a psychological impact on the player with the correct sense of progression. Because if a game has proper gameplay mechanics, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it lasts for 1,000 years. It's not about length. It's about the gameplay mechanics. If the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics is correct, like in most Blizzard games, then the game will be... then it will create a proper psychological sense of progression on the player. And it will be played for years and years. And people won't complain about... You don't see people online complaining that, for example, Diablo 2 is repetitive, right? But they do so... This wasn't the entrance, pretty much, people. Then it's through here. I think there was another entrance. Could it be? Then otherwise, let's get to another quest. Then we can leave this one for later. Yeah, I think we're pretty much stuck here. I don't know how to access that. I think we have to go all the way through here, huh? I think it's not accessible yet. Oh well, we have the terrain explored. That's important. Besides, it was the outer zone, so they are separate. So anyways, we have to explore it.
Supposed to be the foundation of faith.
Let's progress with the main quest, and let's continue with our analysis of min-maxing. With the hypothetical situation that I mentioned. Let me turn in the quests and progress with it. Let's grab them and proceed to the next zone. Let's begin with the main quest. Remember, in the main quest, we are basically protecting humanity against
You're looking for the key to the hub.
the energy leaks and
I might have a
attacks on
useful
human
hint or two.
populations.
One hand washes the other, right? If you do a little job for me, I'd consider telling you what I know. Okay, let's not be hasty. I was just kidding. Ask anyone. I'm a kidder, really. Of course I'll tell you what you want to know. No need to kill me, really. The key is in the crystal caves. They're hard to enter, but if you talk to the crystal smuggler, he might have some tips. He lives over that way.
Very good.
Perfect.
I appreciate reasonable people.
I'm the Inquisitor. Perfect. Let's grab the quests and let's get over there and let's go over the hypothetical situation that I mentioned. Let me turn in this other quest and we will explore the northern section of Dryad Island. There it is, the lizard. The finicky lizard that doesn't want to eat any food. Thank you for your help. Shiro's mouth is already watering, as you can see. Oh yeah, this is for you. I found it when I was removing a tiger's kidney and got the stomach by mistake. Oh, damage. Maybe you can find some use for it. Alright, perfect. We turn in those.
The Inquisition, I mean.
We turn in those. We call our trusty spider. Mount, please, this way. See, this is also an advanced concept for 2008. We don't have a lot of games in which we have mounts that we can automatically call to our location, because that was pretty difficult to program to program back in the day, that the mount would fix on the player's position and get to it. The pathfinding system wasn't very well developed back in 2008. We had pretty good examples. There I have a resurrection monolith, and there we have another one. Alright, so... No, but I want to... We should go up north and get to this zone, because through this zone, I think this is somehow linked because of that bridge, and get over here and over here and over here. Yeah, perfect. We have that teleportation from Thursday. That teleportation monolith from Thursday. Continuing with min-maxing as a paradigm in the stat system, in the framework of the stat system. Let's go. We went over the empirical evidence, what actually happens with Sacred 2, and the conclusion is that objectively, the average, the abstract complexity of the stat system model is, on average, objectively more complex than in modern RPG games like Diablo, because of what I've explained for exactly 1 hour. See how I'm proud of my precision sometimes. Yes. Pretty much, the abstract complexity of the stat system is higher. Hypothetical situation. Let's go over the hypothetical situation. The opposite hypothetical situation. Let's imagine we implement a stat system with min-maxing in mind as the main stat system development philosophy here in Sacred 2. Let's imagine we do that. As I said, let's remember the consequences of it. Let's go over the consequences. We increase accessibility, that would be a positive one. Easy to learn, hard to master, the motto of Blizzard, pretty much. Lowering the entry barrier of the learning curve. But let's get over the rest of the consequences. So, min-maxed system. I don't have to worry anymore about evasion, chance, or accuracy as stats, or vitality at all. You also need vitality in the game. I forgot to mention, damn it, that was my mistake. You also need vitality, because even if you have high evasion chance, if you go up against the boss and you don't invest a single point on vitality, like we usually do with DPS classes in most modern RPG games, think about the mage in Diablo 3 or something like that, or the mage in World of Warcraft, you just invest on. You are extremely squishy, but you kill mobs faster than what they can kill you. Here you have to invest on vitality, because even if you have a high evasion chance, it will never be 100% and you can get killed in one blow. Pretty amazing contingent philosophy design that complements the evasion chance. Because if you spend everything on evasion chance, you are also risking getting killed in one blow if a single attack penetrates your defenses. Right, so pretty well executed. So I don't have to worry about vitality, I don't have to worry about dexterity, I just invest everything on intelligence, as
This will make a nice
ironically, it was natural, it's bound to happen to anyone who plays this game. Or Dungeon Siege 3. Dungeon Siege 3 also has a pretty good, we played it last year, it also has a pretty good conversion of the average RPG system in terms of the stats, and especially the skill tree. That is also quite different. You have to relearn in a pretty similar fashion as Sacred 2. Dungeon Siege 3 is quite similar. Not the first one and the second one, but the third one. Now, imagine I don't have to worry about vitality. I don't have to worry. It's a hypothetical scenario, but let's think about it. I don't have to worry about vitality. I don't have to worry about my total health pool at all. I don't have to worry about pretty much anything at all. What could I possibly care about if my attacks, if by just increasing my base damage, I can kill enemies? This is the huge flaw of a min-maxed system. The huge flaw in the classic Blizzard system, which, as I said, you can see the Lich King banner down there. Back here I have Diablo, I have StarCraft right beside it. I love Blizzard games, but that does not prevent me from criticizing the flaws that the classic Blizzard stat system has does have flaws when you embrace that philosophy of easy to learn, difficult to master. Hey, there we go, we've unlocked the portal, and we have more quests in here. Let's diverge from the path a bit. There we go. What would happen? Now, I don't have to worry about any other stuff. I increase my base attack damage. And I can kill mobs, and this is the huge flaw. I can kill mobs faster than the amount of time required for a defense system to be implemented in the gameplay mechanics. Wow, a new rabbit hole that we analyzed at the beginning of the series as well, that I also love to analyze. A rabbit hole here that we need to address. When the huge danger of creating a min-max stat system in modern video games, the huge flaw in that design philosophy is precisely that. I'll repeat it. That you risk creating a stat system in which the player increases the base attack damage and the amount of time required to kill a mob is lower, it's lower. The amount of time it's less than the amount of time required for a defense system to be implemented in the stat system of the game. Pretty weird, but you'll see that it makes a lot of sense. I've seen it because I've seen it a lot of times, and you'll see that it always works like that with min-maxed games. You increase your base attack damage, and you can kill them faster than the amount of time required for the player to care about investing points on his defense stat system. Gonna save the quest because you too many healings. According you finish your... Yeah, we need to drop all of these guys. I knew that was going to happen eventually. It's only one quest, but there's a lot of guys following us, so we have no choice. We have to get to this location first. Damn it. That's a shitty turn of events, but we'll have to deal with it. What happens? When you do that, when you allow the player to kill mobs faster than the amount of time required to influence the gameplay mechanics, so the player should care about a defense system, you are destroying 50% of the gameplay mechanics. Straight up. So much? Yes, so much. An incredible amount of the gameplay mechanics. I would say 50% because we can... I personally think it's accurate. It's metaphysically accurate to describe gameplay mechanics 50-50, split them 50-50 between attack and defense. Pretty much what the player has to care about to be efficient in combat. Right? There would be another, I would say it's a 33%, because the other aspect would be enemy variety. But let's not get over that. Let's put the focus on the player for now. You are eliminating min-maxed games, or games with a min-maxed stat design philosophy behind them. Sorry, this forest, I'm getting lost. Let's use the map. Games with a min-max stat system behind them, the philosophy implemented to them, they ignore a whole 50% of the stat system. They ignore the defensive aspect that could potentially be implemented in the stat system of that game. Quite interesting topic that is not analyzed nowadays by professional reviewers, and it's absolutely sad, because defense, ideally, like in Sacred 2, should be 50% of the gameplay mechanics. See how it has a direct, objective, negative impact on the gameplay mechanics, creating a stat system which ignores, which doesn't have a balanced distribution of stats, which only cares about base stat damage. And like that, we allow the player to be successful, to be efficient in combat. We'll ignore the quests, because I cannot take any more until I finish this one. It was a pretty good trap by the level design team of the game. So we need to get through this village. Let me follow the path. I'm getting into uncharted territory, people, so have some patience with me. We'll get through it. But see how we eliminated 50% of the stat system, of the potential stat system that could have been implemented in the gameplay mechanics of the game that has a direct influence on the gameplay mechanics of the game and the game crash. Shit. Don't worry, I think we'll spawn quite close because we just unlocked the portal. Don't worry. See how it directly eliminated 50% of the gameplay mechanics. Straight up, like this. Why? Because you allowed the player to just care about a single stat, increasing base attack damage, and like that the player can be efficient in combat. And if the player can be efficient in combat by just understanding a single stat, you are basically making it one-dimensional with all of these consequences. You eliminate defense as an abstract concept in the player's mind. You are degrading the abstract complexity. The player only has to care about attacks, about base attack damage and a secondary stat like critical chance. You effectively eliminated 50% of the system. The problem is that in order to create a system with a stat system with a two-dimensional or more philosophy behind it, you need pretty talented developers like the developers over at Ascaron, clearly. Because then you need to balance that defense system so the player has a way to be efficient in combat through mastery of the defense system, which directly does not exist. It directly doesn't exist in the classic Blizzard system. In a min-maxed game, in a game with a min-maxed stat system, directly it won't even exist. You eliminated 50% of the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics. Like that. Straight up. Straight up. The player only has to care about attacks. Let's go even further in our hypothetical scenario. You only have to care about base damage, like we do in modern RPG games. We only care about base damage, and since we only have to care about base damage, we kill the mob faster than the amount of time that would actually be required to create a balanced system that naturally encourages the player to also have a defensive system to care about. So let's take a look at the defensive system in Sacred 2 for a second. Let's think about it. We have evasion chance. Evasion chance in the name of defense value. It has a lot of posh naming conventions that are inherited from Dungeons and Dragons, from the inherited Dungeons and Dragons traits that the game has. Alright, we are right over there. Let's go right here. We're pretty much there. Yeah. Through here? No. I mean, this jungle it's an absolute maze. It reminds me of the island section of the game, which was also pretty twisted. So let's go over the
wait to find out how many heretics are hiding.
Let's go over the stats that the game has and compare them to what I've been mentioning. See, look at that. Look at that shit. Look at that shit, people. Look at all of those stats. Most of those stats are defensive stats. There are also weird hybrid cases, because Sacred 2 also has a pretty amazing, a brilliant, a fascinating, fabulous, but more, above all, fascinating. See how many and if I click, there's a second page now. See how many stats are there. Most of them are defensive if you look at them. A lot of them maybe you don't understand them because of the posh naming convention that they have. Because of the naming convention. But pretty much, if you pay close attention, the game has reflection chance, evasion chance. It has... is this one two-handed? Yeah, it's two-handed now. It has a lot of stats. It also has hybrid stats because it has, for example, regeneration per hit, which is a hybrid stat. Because at the end of the day, regeneration affects both passive defensive abilities in a pretty subtle way. We'll leave that for the end. It has hybrid stats that act defensively and offensively. But let's focus on the defensive stats first, that are ignored by min-maxing stat systems. In Diablo, do you care about reflection chance? Does it exist at all? Poor Diablo, I always talk about Diablo, because it's the most common example. Any modern RPG game, people, do you have to care about reflection chance? What about evasion chance? What about the fact that when you perform an attack on an enemy, that there's a dice roll to see if it lands or not? Or is it accuracy 100% by default like in Diablo? Poor Diablo, Titan Quest or another one. Those are the things that are eliminated, that are straight up erased from existence the second you have a min-max system. So, it does have its positive aspects. Easy to learn, hard to master. You lower the accessibility barrier at the beginning of the learning curve for new players. It's effective at selling games. But it's not effective at creating the most perfect abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics. See how there's always a negative and positive aspect to all philosophical decisions, those subtle philosophical decisions that I always talk about when they design the stat system, the gameplay system of the game. They all have impacts on the game. The degree may vary, there may be varying degrees of how much a design philosophy impacts, but there will be there. So, we eliminate 50%, straight up 50%. How do I get there? This is like the Ewoks in Star Wars Return of the Jedi. What's this? Oh, quite interesting. Yeah, this game has a lot of Star Wars influence. You see, you can see here that I have my lightsabers there. We've seen a lot of Star Wars references. What the? We can enter the tree or what? Oh, we can enter the tree. Look at that. Shit. What? Ah, it's a full-on transition. What the? I wasn't expecting this. Hey, pretty good reference to Star Wars 6. Or also to Dungeon Siege 2. I think in Dungeon Siege 2 you also begin in something like this. And Champions of Norath on the PS2. Highly recommended series alongside Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. Champions of Norath is a bit more unknown. But it's pretty much the same as the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. It was a competitor back in the day. PS2 exclusive. You also have Champions of Norath 2, and then that series evolved into the Untold Legends series on the PS3 and the PSP. They are not that good. But I won't say they are bad either. I would say they are average. Going back to how it influences the stat system, people. Well, you can see we've eliminated any shade of worry in the player's mind about, hey, pretty good design, pretty good level design here, artistic design as well. And through here I can. Is it through here that I access that area for the quest? I think so, because it looks to be like that. Well, I don't think it's a dead end. It could be that I have to use this and transition once again. Well, we'll see. I eliminated 50% of the gameplay mechanics. The player only has to care about increasing his base attack damage. Think about your latest played RPG. And pretty much I don't have to worry about defense at all. I don't have to worry about reflection, evasion chance. I also don't have to worry about a lot of offensive stats as well, like accuracy, as I've said. In modern games you don't have to worry about the fact if your attacks are actually going to land at all. Like, you don't have to worry about that. It's basically 100% accuracy by default, pretty much. And see how plain, if we make the comparison with Sacred 2 system, see how one-dimensional, simple and plain the stat system is in comparison. See how plain it is. You don't have to worry anymore about any defense at all. And pretty much that's the huge flaw and the huge consequence of a min-maxed stat system. The second the player can kill mobs faster than to the point, faster than the amount of time required to implement a defense system in the game, you are taking out that 50% important stat systems part from your game, and that degrades complexity. If you degrade complexity, you degrade replayability. If you degrade replayability, you are basically destroying. You're basically destroying the abstract complexity of the game and the psychological sense of progression on the player. It's a consequence. So you eliminate all. I think it's through here, huh? We should be able to go down there. I think. Is it through here? Let me see. No, no, it's not through here. What the? And I'm a bit lost. How do I get to that quest? Interesting. Then it was through the normal ground level. Let's finish that side quest and then we can come back to this one. Then I'll have all cleared, then go back to that one. Let's do that, people, because I don't know how to access that zone, and pretty much I need to turn in that quest to proceed. But as I said, that's the first consequence and the worst one. Hey, what's going on? It's crashing again. Well, I mean, people, sorry people that the game crashed again. There's literally nothing I can do about it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I didn't alt tab. If you don't alt tab, pretty much the memory of the game, the pipeline gets full. When we start with the next analysis, it will feel weird to have a game that doesn't crash. It will feel weird at this point to analyze a game that doesn't crash, and it's easier to stream in that sense. But well, as I was saying, you take out 50% of the gameplay mechanics because you're allowing the player to kill enemies without ever caring about his defense at all. There's no elemental resistance system in place. Only one type of damage. There's no evasion chance. There's no reflection chance. There's no nothing. There isn't any added complexity to the defense system, so the player doesn't have to care about it. The player doesn't have to care about it at all, because the player will be able to kill mobs faster than even before thinking about defending himself. You don't have to worry about defense. In Diablo 3, that's pretty much how it works. It's pretty much how it works. You kill mobs, and you don't have to worry about spamming potions or anything. There's no defense system in place. The complexity of the gameplay mechanics, it's absolutely degraded in comparison. So yes, and in the case of Sacred 2, if we think about it, there are also the hybrid stats that I mentioned, which are a perfect element that complements this defense system that I've been talking about. Why? Because Sacred 2 does not neglect the use, I know it's an abstract concept, but it does not neglect the use. Let me alt tab because that is partially the reason why the game lasted for more time last time. Let me alt tab for a sec here. That flashes out the memory pipeline. Sacred 2 does not neglect the use of offensive stats as a defense system. Quite interesting, people. Quite interesting. What do I mean by that? So, let's see. I think this path should lead me here. Let's see. There has to be a way to penetrate that section. To get into that section. I have to follow the road or something. Through here, perhaps. Right. This is a dead end. Now I see the problem. Is it a transition? No. It's a dead end. Damn it. See, this is what I meant when I said complexity of a level design. There are also hybrid stats like regeneration. Regeneration can be used offensively and defensively. That's why I say a hybrid stat. So, see how Sacred 2 implements a defensive system? The player has to care about vitality as well. Another element that we have to take into account, that because as I've said, let me see if I can grab the quests, even if they Even if they... Let me see. Yeah, we can grab this one. This one doesn't involve escorting. Replant the forest destroyed by... Because the quest objectives may help me find the entrance to that zone. Replant the forest destroyed by the blood dryads. May nature bless you. Have a look around you. Our country to be beautiful. Until thieves, traitors, and poachers defile this island. Now we have Jacks who slashed the burn. The blood dryads and the filter almost. Alright. Let me see. Where does that lead me? It leads me up north. Quite interesting. To the other side. To the other side of the mountains. Well, we'll see. So, pretty much.
What do you want from me, stranger?
This one? No, this one is a escort quest. We cannot grab that one. And let me grab this one. Yeah, it's the same. We need to get to that section. We need to get to that section, people. No matter what. We need to get to that section. The question is how. So, there are hybrid stats that can be used offensively and defensively. Namely, regeneration per hit. Think about regeneration per hit for a second. Besides vitality, I forgot about vitality. Not only, as I said, you need to care about evading attacks, but also to survive one-hit kills by world bosses. So, there we have already 2 elements, all of the defensive stats that are many, many more as I showed you. And the vitality system, that even if you can evade attacks, you can get killed in one blow. So 2 elements that add to the abstract complexity of the defense system that doesn't even exist in min-max systems. Good. Regeneration per hit. What's this? I don't see the fucking entrance to this, huh? Let's take the other path. I think the only entrance it was... I think I was right getting to those houses. Let me see the map. There has to be an entrance there. Through here? Through there? Could it be through there? Could it be through here? No, it looks like a dead end. And here, this one has an entrance? No. No, clearly we need to use the Ewok houses, the Dryad houses, I don't know. Let me get to them. So, pretty much, the regeneration per hit stat can be used offensively and defensively, right? So, yeah, it has to be through here, people. There's no other entrance. There's no other entrance. Huh? There's no other entrance. Let me see. This one? This one leads you to another... Damn it, it's a fucking maze. Where are we? Aha, I think it's through here. Could it be? Could it be through here? There's another exit there. Where are we in the map? I'm getting... no, I think we need to do another transition. This is like the train system of the game. Think about the regeneration per hit. Oh shit. There we go. I think it's through here. Yeah. I think it's through here. It was a pretty hard to... See, I mentioned that the transitions could be a bit better indicated. Maybe with a highlight when you hover over them with the mouse. That could be better indicated. Can I go to the south from here? The regeneration per hit stat, the regeneration per hit stat works offensively and defensively. That's why I said it's a hybrid stat. A third element in our analysis, yeah, it's through here. Good. I found a way. Why is it a hybrid stat? Because it decreases the cooldown. As I've said, it's pretty unusual in RPG games to be able to that the developers of the game allow you to directly manipulate the regeneration times of your abilities. But pretty much regeneration time, the regeneration per hit, influences both abilities that deal damage or abilities that have defensive properties like Frantic Fervor and Paralyzing Dread that increase my attack damage and that decrease the attack damage of mobs that are pretty much attacking me. Again here, what the? What What's the meaning of this? God damn it, people. What's this zone? I can't see shit. Where would we drop? Damn it. So, regeneration per hit influences both defensive and offensive abilities, right? Like that, you can influence. You have a hybrid stat that is also part of the. It's again this one. I think the other three dropped me without any reference point to. I mean, shit. What's going on? Without any other reference point to. What the? He got fucking bagged. Shit. Well, damn it. What happened there? We got through the base of the tree. Damn it. I don't see any apparent entrance, huh? We got through the base of the tree there. I'm beginning to get scared. Beginning to get scared about how to get through this zone. So, the second you can influence abilities through reducing the regeneration times, you are able to influence both defense and offense, right? Through regeneration times. Through being able to reduce the regeneration times. Good. Good. That's another aspect that you lose the second you create a one-dimensional system. Could it be that we have to enter this place? No. I don't get it. We're coming from here, right? We're coming from this one. And if we go through this one, here, it should drop us where we need to. Let me see. Let me compare the local map and the global map. It's the only way. But yes, basically, here I bet you can see by now how many things are directly omitted. They are eliminated by the simple fact that we, I think it's through here, huh? Through here? Could it be? Could it be? Uh-huh. I mean, it's the only one that I haven't tried at all. There we go. I think it's through here. Yeah, fine. I think. What were the probabilities of being the only entrance that I didn't try previously? God damn it. They should be better indicated. So, yes, basically the second... Yeah, it's through here. God damn it, what a maze. No, it's not through here. To the south, people. I want you to go to the south. The road, please. Let me find that road. Here, this should lead me to through there. When we see a bridge, it's that we chose the correct path. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. We did it. Yeah, see. See, when I say the complexity of a level design, I mean this. See how much time it took me 34 minutes to just... Yeah, and there's the area right behind us that we were at the beginning of the stream. I found my way. I found my way, people. I found my way. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Amazing. Good. Logairar. Do we have any zone quests here that we can grab? Yeah. Look for my missing daughter and wife. I don't know what to do. First my daughter disappeared and now my wife is gone too. It all started a few days ago. My daughter called the Dead Shadows of Life. She never returned home. After that I assumed that this cult had something to do with her disappearance. My wife didn't want to wait any longer to set out on search of our daughter, so she should have returned long time ago. Homie, I implore you, my friend, find them. Okay, let's go. I will save in case the game crashes. Hey, there's a Colosseum here. I hope this is the entrance to that final zone, huh? Otherwise we are fucked. So yes. Let's do a bit of a recap, because I was trying to find the exit. Vitality, evasion chance, reflection chance, regeneration, because it can influence defensive abilities like Paralyzing Dread that reduce enemy attack speed, for example. See how many defensive stats we don't have to even think about in a min-maxed stat system. Think about it for a second. Think about all of them and compare them to the system that Sacred 2 has. Pretty much we have to care about all of them. And there you can see that the abstract complexity is much higher. We also have the hybrid stats that I mentioned, the regeneration per hit, and you can also have half regeneration, chance to halve regeneration by 50%. Damn it, that stupid spiders, so stupid spiders. They are not letting me mount quietly. There we go. So the path should continue through here. Could it be? As far as I can see, it goes through and through here. As far as I can see, people. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, see, it's an absolute maze, but I'm finding my way through it. I hope there's another. We should go through here. Can we cross the river? No, it's on the other side, right? No, then it's not through here. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. So, pretty much, as a conclusion, here you can see all of the negative effects of a min-maxed stat system. I think I've laid them out perfectly in this hour and a half. I think I've listed them perfectly in this hour and a half. And pretty much, there you can see all of the negative aspects of the game, the negative consequences of a min-max stat system. God, I mean, what's going on with this game, with the region? Pekaren, how's it going? For some reason, the minimap in my Sacred 2 game, hello, how's it going? The Sacred 2 game on Steam with the community patch takes up a quarter of the screen. Yeah, you have to choose, I don't know why it's crashing so much today. Hello, how's it going? By the way, I forgot to mention you another game recommendation the other day. Mythos. It's an offline MMORPG by the same developers as Haley London. That happens because of the UI proportion, could it be? The UI, yeah. There's an option which changes the UI. The UI of the game. I think I can show you. Give me a minute. I don't know why the game is crashing so much today, so many times. How have you been? How have you been, man? How have you been? That's an option that you can. I think I can show it to you right now. UI scaling. User interface scaling. It is in graphics, pretty much. Yeah, I chose minimal option available. If I choose more than that, then minimap takes all of the screen. Yeah, exactly. This one. I think it's this one. If you deselect this one, it will work. It'll work. UI scaling over at the graphic options. And as I've said, I'll try. Thanks. I'll try. I have one more game recommendation. What I was mentioning, Mythos. Mythos is the only other game developed by the original developers of Hellgate London. So small text on 1440p, by the way. Yeah, mine is 1440p. It's so the text will be small. The text will be small. Sometimes you see. That's why I think I mentioned it. That the letters are a bit small and they are difficult to read. Pretty much. Yeah. But it looks quite crisp, at least. Another thing that, well, you have my full guide over at YouTube. I don't know if you've seen it. Pretty much with that, you will be able to mod all aspects of the game. You realize that the mod is actually working correctly if you see that the user interface is like platinum instead of gold or something like that. As you can see, it will never fix the crashes 100%, but at least it will it will allow you to play all of the quests and several balance improvements. I was talking about the min-maxing stat system precisely for today's analysis, and yeah, pretty much. But one game that I forgot to mention, Dungeon Siege 3 as well, pretty good recommendation, and Mythos. Mythos is basically an offline MMORPG that has been released offline with an offline version recently, similar to Hellgate London, but people don't seem to care about Mythos nowadays. By the way, how did the Hellgate London installation went? You mentioned to me that that London 2038 didn't work, which is weird because I preferred the Dungeon Siege 1 and 2, not a fan of 3, but it's quite good. Yeah, definitely. The first one and the second one were the best. But they were different games. There was such a huge gap of years that it's a completely different philosophy. Like you no longer control a party. You only control one character and the partner, and it's much more similar to Diablo 3. Clearly, you can see the influence of Diablo 3. I'll wait for sale on Steam. I want my games on Steam. Yeah, I am that person. London 2038, not playable from my part of Earth. Oh, damn. Oh, that's sad to hear. But then your only option is to either play the game unmodded or with some tweaks you can play the London 2038 mod offline with some modding. It's a rather long process because it's difficult to find it. If you want, I can give you a link that will guide you, but I think it will take some time to understand it. I found a copy of original Hellgate London. Maybe I'll try that before sale on Steam. Yeah, because the other one, as I said, the Steam version that you mentioned to me on Discord, that's Hellgate Global. The elf prince goes, stranger, let me tell you about a terrible fight in the old days when you palace young and arrogant prince. On my wedding day, I had an old beggar kill me. I had an old beggar killed because she gave me a worthless ring made of tin. And when I threw the ring, named Jujala before she died, because many of my enemies turned miserable and dead. I become lonely, but we're part of the curse, that fact that we know how to control. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, with Tokyo and stuff, and downgraded. It also has downgraded graphics. Indeed, it also has downgraded graphics, and yeah, I bet you saw, but for some reason. The reason is that license issues, kind of like they didn't have access to some shit, so they had to create new content, which is Hellgate Tokyo, for example. Over at YouTube, a user specifically asked me for DirectX 10 license issues. I don't know, maybe that as well. I honestly don't know. I think it would be not DirectX 10, license of the original game content or something like that. That's the very reason why the London 2030-18 still cannot implement the Tokyo expansion on that modded game. Because it's still a license of Handmade. It's kind of like one part of the license is part of Flagship, it's owned by Flagship, and the another one. Whoa, that's a, yeah. And another part of the license, the new content is owned by Handmade Soft instead of Flagship. Okay, I think I found my way through the jungle. That's unfortunate, but yes, the other one, Mythos, highly recommended. It's an offline MMORPG that I forgot to mention to you on Thursday. Mythos, pretty much Mythos is an offline MMORPG. And it has isometric camera like Sacred 2. It's just the other second conversion that Handmade Soft did. Mythos. And Mythos noted, yeah, I forgot to mention it, and it's pretty much the perfect example. It has isometric camera, it's offline, so you won't have the problem of the ping, and it's pretty much MMORPG structure. Have you checked out the trailer for Titan Quest 2? No shit. No. Titan Quest 2 exists? No shit. You can leave. Could you please leave the link over at Discord or something or here? And it has gameplay trailer. Sacred Titan Quest 2 exists. No way. THQ Nordic. And it has gameplay trailer. No. No, I don't know. How many hours ago was it? How many hours ago was it? Damn it. No, I didn't know. It was probably 3 asterisks. Don't tell me that your message got automatically you should give me the option to show it. Yeah, sometimes. Yes, shit. Drop link on Discord too. Ah, okay. Good. Perfect. Drop on Discord. Ah, okay, it was a link probably. I have links dropped because of the bots. Sorry. My bad. I had to do it because otherwise the bots, I don't know if you've seen them, there's a point in which they swarm the stream. You can see that here. At least for now they are not swarming, because I precisely had to stop them altogether, because otherwise it was a mess. They would bother me and it was unbearable. Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So Titan Quest 2 exists. What a happy, amazing, such amazing news you bring me. Didn't know it happened some hours ago probably, because until I started the stream there wasn't something crazy like that. Hey, don't tell me this is a secret zone. Yeah, look at this. Look at these people. Secret zone. They told you. Another secret zone. God damn it. God damn it, this game. This game loves its secret zones. Speak with Brother Lurchin.
Shall we seal it in blood? I mean, ink?
God damn it. Another secret zone. Collect 5 shuffle weeds. We're playing the same. We don't know Tesla. We run out of ingredients. Will you help us?
Even though it is below my rank.
Those are some great news. Great news, Titan Quest 2. Well, I'm very happy. I'm very happy, because Titan Quest is one of those underrated series that definitely deserved much more praise back in the day, and sadly didn't get the attention it deserves. Like, it's amazing, it's pretty huge, and yeah. Titan Quest, it's amazing. If you haven't tried it, people, highly recommend it. I don't know if it's THQ Nordic, it's probably THQ Nordic developing it, because they had the license. Defeat the leaping plants. You came here because of the job. Everywhere they seem to be. Yeah, but this is a dead end.
Importance to you.
What on earth? How do I reach that mysterious spell zone? Is this a joke? They even showed a bit of the progression system. So gameplay and progression system. Wow. Is it online only? They could have fucked up with that. Following the just for a sec. Ah, just when you connect. I don't know about online. Ah, okay. Just for a sec, then the progressive, the progression system, they showed it just for a sec. Okay. Hey people, I think it was through the other side. I honestly don't know what to do about that fucking objective. I honestly don't know what to do, huh? It's the very edge of the map. Let me ensure that we've explored everything. So, well, no, but it's incredible news. It's incredible news that this is the edge of the map. How is it possible that I cannot reach that? It must be underground or some shit like that. Damn it. All right, let's take care of the the quest of this area. Well, I mean, with that quest, how do I get to it? That's the question. So Titan Quest 2, such amazing news. That now we just need Darksiders for the ending of the trip. What a tragedy, Darksiders as well. Also held by THQ Nordic. THQ Nordic is a great company, but we definitely need Darksiders 4. Because it's the ending, because it's the 4 Riders of the Apocalypse. And basically Darksiders 4 was the ending of the tetralogy, in that case, 4 of them. And could it be that it's through here? I mean, there are not many other options. People will explore the whole place. Nope, not through here as well. Darksiders 4 we need it. We definitely need, because it was pretty much the ending. It was pretty much the ending of it all. The Ancestor Chambers. That's the teaser trailer for the new Darksiders. Look like it could be a remaster of the first one or not. I don't know. There's no remaster of the. There's a new one. There's a 4th one. I don't know. Maybe there's a conference right now, and I am here playing. Of the new one, look like it will be a remaster of the first one or not. The first one is you cannot miss it because of the protagonist, because of war. If it's a guy with a red hood, it's probably war. The first well, but he could also end the war. Supposedly you should, the 4 of them would come together. Again, they showed only environment. They showed Darksiders 4? You kidding me? There's a THQ Nordic conference right now going on. Could it be? A THQ 4 days ago. 4 days ago. And they showed Darksiders 4. Sorry about the link. Sorry about the link. I have to prevent them from showing because otherwise the bots would swarm the channel. They would start, buy viewers, $2. Okay. No. If you want, if you could please drop the link over at Discord, because then I like to see them, because I love their franchises, and definitely a huge important step. Drop. Thank you. Deep thanks, Pekarin. Deep thanks. Because otherwise, I miss those, and they are pretty important. Hey, I'm beginning to think this quest was accessible through the other zone, but I also explored it. But I need to finish it before proceeding, because it left me with all. Anyways, we have the portal up there. We'll be able to jump back and forth. I have to find the entrance to that quest, because it has all of those Scortees. And I cannot take any more quests as a direct consequence of it. In fact, I'm beginning to wish I could fail the quest by killing them, but well, what are you gonna do, people? But well, as a conclusion for today's stat system analysis, pretty much, as I've said, 50% of the gameplay mechanics are ignored. 50% of the gameplay mechanics are ignored the second you implement a min-maxed system, and as a conclusion, it degrades the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics, and that directly affects all of the aspects of the game, because pretty much you don't have to worry about your defense stats, your reflection chance, anything at all, and basically it makes it one-dimensional. So essentially, when you implement a min-maxed stat system on the gameplay mechanics, as we explained for 2 hours, pretty much you are destroying the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics, and taking away from the player 50% of the gameplay, because the player doesn't have to worry about defense at all. The player only has to worry about attack damage, and the second you can deal more damage than the amount of time it takes for you to care about the defensive system. But we went through this cave. I don't know, not this one. No, it's inaccessible. In fact, it's not an entrance. I honestly don't get it, people.
How dare you approach me?
It's right there. But this is not an entrance. It's a fucking maze. Oh well, I wanted to arrive to the conclusion of today's analysis. As a framework, pretty much, which is the stat system, pretty much within it, we have the min-maxing development philosophy, and with the min-max philosophy, as you could see, we lose a lot of potential for the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics of the game. Pretty much. So, yes, I think, could it be that the entrance is through here? Through this edge? Could it be? Could it be through here? Oh my, could it be through here? No. Then I don't know, people, huh? I don't know how to access that zone. Damn it, this quest. Wish I could abandon it temporarily, but I cannot. I cannot. So I don't know how to. There's no entrance at all. I'm going over the terrain once again, and there's no entrance at all. No, and here we're going far away from it. Has to be an underground system or some shit like that. What the? Could it be here? This is the only spot we haven't explored. I would need to be quite unlucky, which maybe is the case. But no, I don't. It's the only spot I haven't explored. We went all the way around it. Let me see. It could be this one, huh? I mean, we've already explored everything. Yeah, it could be this one. God, I mean, I'm so... Well, not that I'm unlucky. Could be that this is linked. This is the entrance. It's the only option. We've already explored the mountain. From one side... Where is this explored? We haven't explored this place. Huh? Hang on a second. Where are we? Where the fuck are we? Underground? Just there. Yeah, I think we've explored a pretty similar dungeon to this one, but it wasn't this one previously. Hang on a second. But well, as a conclusion for today's stream, I wanted to highlight how the stat system of the game pretty much the stat system of the of Sacred 2 is quite efficient at creating a complex stat system which isn't min-max. You have to care about different stats, and that has a lot of positive consequences that, as we've extensively analyzed in these 2 hours, are a lot of positive effects. There it is. The entrance has to be over here. It's a network. It's an underground network. It has a lot of positive aspects that I've mentioned and we've analyzed today on stream. As I've said, it increases the abstract complexity. The fact that you have to worry about defensive stats, it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And it's absolutely amazing. And it enhances the abstract complexity of the gameplay mechanics to a perfect degree in which the player has to worry about defense and offense, and that makes the game experience much better. As you can see, once again, people, we've arrived at an objective reason pretty much as to why the perfect abstract complexity in Sacred 2 is higher than the average that we would normally get in modern RPG games. Pretty much. So yeah, I wanted to arrive to that conclusion because they are all integrated elements. As I said at the beginning, it's absolutely there. It is. It's through here. God damn it! It was so hidden. It's a fucking underground network just to get to that quest. It's such a trap. I remember the troll quest the other day. Or during the weekend, I was kind of like adding the timestamps for the YouTube bots. That we're pretty much the YouTube bots are still at the at the second at the end of the second area, I believe. I was looking at the third area of Sacred. God, I mean, don't tell me this is another dead end.
Does that hurt, heretic?
This is another dead end. Shit. And we're fucked. I was looking at the quests when I was adding the timestamps for the YouTube bots, and there was one quest. The Orc Weather quest, in which the shaman tells you, go fetch me this, go fetch me that, and I laughed so hard at it. Go fetch me this, go fetch me that, go fetch me that, to disperse the storm over at the Orc village here, Karag. Fetch me this, fetch me that, fetch me the other one. And it gets to a point in which there's a spell that makes another orc that's standing besides the shaman orc that explodes in blood in a pretty comical style. And then afterwards, your final mission after this, you report this to the chieftain. And the chieftain sends you to kill the shaman, and when you kill the shaman, it was the shaman all along that was casting the storm, a troll quest. Let me see through here. There aren't any other. God damn it. Shit, it's not through here either. I don't know what's the meaning of these people, but it's another dead end. I don't know how to get to that quest at all. I've explored the whole region by now. By now I've explored the whole region, and I cannot get to it. But well, as a conclusion for the analysis, people, of today, min-maxing pretty much as a design philosophy brings a lot of negative consequences that definitely are fixed with the complex gameplay system of Sacred 2, in which you have to care about defense, and pretty much that brings a whole 50% extra to the table. I love the animation when the minimap gets bigger, so smooth. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's another one of the achievements of this game, if we think about it, because pretty much most games just have the normal world map, but this game it achieves a high degree of level design to the point that you need it in order to not get lost, as I've been getting in the jungle. And also the island region, also it's an absolute maze. There's even a zone that is called the maze here, and you can get lost pretty easily. It's amazing that yeah, the animations are quite smooth, and that this game incorporates a lot of elements that normally wouldn't be needed at all in other games, because of what I've been commenting, that the abstract complexity is much better. It's much better. By the way, Pekarin, sorry if the other day I gave you way too many recommendations about the 3DS that you mentioned about being overwhelmed and the like, but pretty much I love the 3DS, and we can do any console recommendations any day you'd like. We can do it any day you like, and pretty much Xbox 360, PS3, 3DS, and all of the Nintendo handhelds, and also PS Vita and PSP. Pretty much, in the case of the 9th generation, modern games, I made the full switch to PC, because after the PS3 and the Xbox 360, the 8th generation, well, it retained some exclusive, but then afterwards everything was released on PC. So I've talked about this topic. It's a quite interesting topic. Which is the relativization of console exclusivities, a lot of people nowadays believe, they are convinced that pretty much exclusives are a terrible idea for the consumer. Yeah, I play rarely, so Hellgate and Sekiro 2 would take me a whole year to finish. No, Hellgate is not that long. It's not that long, Hellgate London. At least the base game. Don't tell me that finally this is the end. Torrents, shit, god damn it. Today this region... I played The Witcher 3 for 1.5 years, I still have that one pending. I played The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2, and The Witcher 3 I have it pending. I wanted to play them in order. Without DLC. Ah, so you still have the Ice and Blood. No, sorry, Ice and Blood. The Blood and Wine DLC and the other one. There was another one. No, I played The Witcher 1 and The Witcher 2. I don't know if you know the story behind The Witcher 2. The transition from The Witcher 2 to The Witcher 3. Quite interesting. 160 hours and 1.5 years. Yeah. But there's a story behind it. If you play The Witcher 2, I don't know if you played it. If you play The Witcher 2, I got right at the end of The Witcher 2 this year on January. I played the first one. The first one is massive. I think they're going to completely change the combat system in the remake that they are going to do. There's a remake of the first one. And they are going to completely change the combat system, that it will be like The Witcher 3. So I highly recommend you play the original because of the combat system. A lot of people hate it, but it's amazing because it inherits the legacy of BioWare. The legacy of BioWare in The Witcher 1 is made with the Aurora engine, I believe, and it has a lot of mechanics from classic BioWare design philosophy. Choices, so I highly suggest you play the original The Witcher 1, even if the remaster is ever released, because the combat system will be completely different. Yeah, I played the first The Witcher when it was released, Aurora engine and all that stuff. Then it was massive, and replayed before The Witcher 3. Ah, well then, you know, it's an absolute gem. At least I would say it's an absolute gem, because definitely The Witcher 1 had a complexity in its gameplay mechanics that it's not present in The Witcher 2 and The Witcher 3. The problem was that after The Witcher 1, they wanted to go for the console version of The Witcher 1, which is a PC exclusive up until now. They wanted to go for the console version of The Witcher 1, and that consumed a lot of money. And by the end of The Witcher 2, they realized they couldn't release The Witcher 1 on consoles. They released The Witcher 2 on Xbox 360, on the Xbox 360. But pretty much they realized, and they had to stop development for The Witcher 2. That's why The Witcher 2, and replay it for The Witcher 3. And they realized that, and they started development for The Witcher 3. Pretty much, The Witcher 2, if you think about it, it was absolutely... The ending, it was a pretty common practice back in the day that a lot of games would not get finished. The same happens with Halo 2. An absolute pity. An absolute pity, because Halo 2, with a proper ending, could have been probably the best shooter of all time. It is pretty close. I still think I would place it in a top 3, but without the ending, it's a problem. It's a problem without the ending, because it builds up all the way to the ending. Halo 2 on Legendary, I highly recommend you to experience, people. You will suffer, but it's quite rewarding. And in the case of The Witcher, Halo 2, remember E3, guys? Or remember the E3? I've been quite nostalgic about E3. When the original Xbox was announced back in 2003, I think it was the E3 from 2003, when Dwayne Rock Johnson, the wrestling star, and Bill Gates presented the Xbox, the original Xbox. And I mentioned about E3 culture. I talked a lot about E3 culture as well. and definitely it's an absolute disturbable, iconic moment. Yeah. I think it's all of our dreams, all of us who reside outside of the US. I mentioned this is a cultural effect. All of us who reside outside of the US, regardless of our nationality, we would always crave, we would always love the idea to visit E3 at some point in our lives. It was kind of like a crusade that the gamer has to do to fully fulfill his career in a philosophical sense, people. That it was always our dreams, at least in my case, it was always all of our dreams to at least go to one E3, and now we will never again experience that. Again, this Guardian, no, I want to find the entrance. Where was the entrance that we had found some minutes ago? Where is it? No, forget about this Guardian. Here, it was through here. It was our dreams, at least in my case, and a lot of people that I know about. It was their dream as players, as people who play video games, as gamers, to go to E3. But when did you get information about E3? In the 2000s? Well, not in the 2000s, but 2005, 2007. Pretty much, yeah, there were Spanish sites that would cover them pretty similar to IGN. In my case, well, long story short, I can tell I'm from Argentina. It says in the description, but Argentina is basically an Italian-Spanish diaspora, the biggest one outside of Europe. That's why we have European culture, even if we reside in the southernmost cone of South America. Pretty weird case. It's a pretty unique case because we have a lot of American institutions, like we have president, not prime minister, but we have European culture. So inside of that European culture, in Spanish, in Spain, there were magazines back in the 90s about video games. There were, and in the, you said in the 2000s, I bought a lot of magazines that comes with CD, DVD, with video materials. Yeah, for example, but in the early 2000s, maybe that is in the 90s. In the early 2000s, there were already magazines, at least in Spanish. Of course, in English, but I understood English. But pretty much I didn't know precisely about those. But by 2003, 2005, I think that by 2005 I watched the E3s. Well, YouTube was 2005, right? With the first video. From 2005 and onwards, we had to just wait some years. 2003 we had, as I've said, the portals with written articles, but from 2005 onwards it was pretty fast. 2006, 2007, I have all the three conferences stored in my desktop if you paid attention to it. But I hate that, I absolutely hate that we've lost that opportunity to attend to E3. That E3 was completely destroyed. It's linked to a lot of factors that I think they are absolutely terrible. Like, as I've said, the relativization of console exclusivities. For example, I think it was a reason. Because 2005, I get it, access to internet and stuff, but before, written articles and magazines. Written online articles, like digital, and magazines in Spanish. There were, yeah, by 2005 there were written in Spanish articles, and I mean that trap was pretty difficult to destroy. But anyways, 2005, yeah, pretty much you could watch it through YouTube, and before, yeah, written articles. No video, no video. Written. All written. The reporters would be invited, like IGN was, and they would come back and write the article, and they would write the article, and they would show you photos. There were photos, and like that. It was pretty much like that. But by 2006, 2007, we had the previous E3 conferences uploaded in video. Pretty much. They are online, I have them all. I guess maybe on TV some show. But no, yeah, in the US it was. In the US. Only US television. Only US television. Not outside of the US. And maybe the UK. But not, it was in the kind of like confined to English speaking, to the Anglosphere, to English speaking countries. Pretty much. The rest was written, or as I said, photos, pretty much. But no, I am quite sad that we lost the opportunity forever after the pandemic to ever attend E3 personally, because I mentioned this in some streams ago, precisely as I was streaming Hellgate Sacred 2. Between listening to Jeff Keighley, people, between listening to Jeff Keighley, who, with all due respect, that guy hasn't played a lot of games in his life, and he doesn't have enough experience to talk about video games. I'm sorry. To talk about video games professionally, you at least need to play a decent amount of them. Between listening to Jeff Keighley and listening to Miyamoto, now we had to lie only with Jeff Keighley shows. Yeah, but between Jeff Keighley and Miyamoto, which one do you choose, people? Because Jeff Keighley was responsible. I'm sorry, but he was responsible for killing E3 to get the money for this summer game fest. He's partly responsible for first turning the E3 into fucking Oscars, which it destroys the culture of video games, which is different from movies. First of all, it's different, and he created the Oscar. Yeah, but Spike TV was kinda funny in the early 2000s. Yeah, he had the Doritos show or something like that. But I never thought he would replace E3. He never thought he would replace E3 with the Summer Game Fest. We must admit to people, between listening to Miyamoto and listening to Jeff Keighley, do you remember Nintendo's press conferences, or PlayStation listening to Kaz Hirai, or I don't know, Jack Tretton, or Sean Layden? Between them and Jeff Keighley, I'm sorry, my personal 2 cents, I would stick to Miyamoto. I think we were much better with the original E3 show, pretty much.
This won't be easy for you.
Listening to people who have designed the best games in existence ever was an honor, and listening to Jeff Keighley, I'm sorry, but he is, for me, it's unbearable. It's absolutely unbearable, and the fact that he killed E3 adds more insult to injury, if you know what I mean. Like, I think it's impossible to compare him to Miyamoto, because, as I said, there's an ocean of difference in knowledge, like back in when we had the E3 shows, a lot of people argue, for example, in both English and Spanish communities, that it was a smoke bomb. Like, they would present trailers, but no gameplay. This isn't the entrance either. Ah, there it is, the objective! Yes, it can be. I think it's the objective, people. I think it's the objective. The longest objective ever. It took me fucking only 2 hours. 2 hours to find it. Now it's just unstoppable advert fest. Well, besides that, Pekka, it's an absolute. For me, it's unbearable. I think it's an insult to intelligence. Jeff Keighley compared to Miyamoto. I'm sorry, the guy has no knowledge. The thing with a lot of game reviewers is that you can see in the integral history of PC game genres that even before I talk about video games, I at least have a global aspect of genres. I think Jeff Keighley, if I asked him, or any of you, I don't know if he would be able to classify game genres. If I asked him the difference between classic RPG and isometric action RPG, between Baldur's Gate and Diablo, I don't know if he would be, or any of you would ask him, I don't know if he would be able to tell it, or between real-time strategy or real-time tactics. Well, that one is a bit niche, but but he know Kojima personally, for example. I don't know Kojima. Well, he knew Kojima. He knew Kojima personally. No, he's a close friend with Kojima. There's a photo of them spending a night over at a Japanese hotel not so long ago. That's a bit suspicious. But well, yes, he always had that thing. I don't like Kojima's pompous style. I don't like him. I'm not him. His style or with Metal Gear. I know that I'll be hated a lot for this unpopular opinion. What a life! But yeah, irony all over the place. Irony all over the place, Kappas. Yeah. What? Finally, we found the objective of the quest, and I got rid of all of these 5 pirates following me. I think I was so unlucky that it was the last option that I could think about. This quest was cursed. Well, and yes, I was mentioning this.
The mission was a great success.
Finally, I can kill these guys. I've been waiting for this for the whole 2 hours of the stream to get rid of these guys. This quest was the longest ever. And that vermin, yes, please get out of here, all of you. Thank you. Thanks, universe, thanks, gaming gods, for finally being done with this quest. It took me 2 hours to find the entrance. 2 fucking hours. 2 hours and 22 minutes, people. 2 hours and 22 minutes it took me. God damn it. There you can see the complexity in level design perfectly exemplified. Sorry.